What's going on and welcome back. In today's video we are going to go over a machine from HackTheBox. The machine name is Lazy, the machine is Linux, and in this machine we're going to go over, mostly we're going to cover web application attacks, and the attack name is Oracle Paddling Attack. So basically that's the core of this machine, and that's what we're going to go over. Of course we're going to continue and carry on till the privilege escalation part to grab the root flag. So the nmap scan first, as always. Let me grab this up. All right, so we have 22 SSH 80 web server running on Apache, and that's it. So actually we have two open ports. So what do? We fire our browser. So basically open the browser, and don't forget to add the machine to the host file to be able to browse it by its name. So http lazy.http. Right, so we see the basic page, and the page doesn't have much to discover. So we see login, register, and it's actually hinting that you need to register an account. So basically we go over the process. Warning. Okay, so we're going to need Purpose Suite, by the way, to demonstrate the scenario. So I'm going to hit to proxy, and of course put this for a while off and make it back here. Edit settings. Proxy manual, make sure everything is correctly set, apply. Okay, so we have the page here. So what do we need to do? As I said earlier, we're gonna have to register. Okay, and once we register, we're gonna log in and intercept requests. So for now, make sure the purpose suite is off, the intercept off, and register using whatever name you would like to use. So for me, I'm gonna use my name, the password simple. Okay, so before clicking on login, I'm gonna now turn this on, click on login. Okay, so we see here the parameter username, password, click on forward. Okay, right here, as you can see, we have authentication cookie, right? This is the authentication cookie. So basically, we see this pretty much when we intercept requests while we make requests to the web pages. So basically, we see the cookies, but here in this scenario, it requires you to play with the authentication cookie, right? So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna highlight this and send that to repeater. In the repeater, we have here the request. So what we can do, we can just play with that and see how the server behaves. So let's say if we replace that with something like 456, and we're gonna say send. So as you can see, we have got an error, invalid padding. So invalid padding means that we have a vulnerability in the padding of this cookie. Now the vulnerability called Oracle padding attack or padding Oracle attack, which is a flaw in the encryption and decryption mechanism of the authentication cookies here. I'm not very expert in the encryption, but I'm going to put the link that explains the vulnerability in the video description, so you can read it through, and learn if you are a cryptography savvy user, so you can learn about this or read about this. So what do we do from here? Like always, guys, we trigger the server and see how it behaves, and based on its behavior, we decide how to proceed further. So, like you know, in SQL injection, we trigger database error. Now, in this case, we triggered an encryption error, invalid padding. So what do we do here? We're gonna get back to the proxy and use this value to get the encrypted counterparts of this value with the admin user. How do we do that? There is a tool called Padbuster, and it is available in all distributions of Kali Linux. You don't need to download that. So here, new tab, Now, Padbuster, let's make sure it is there. Great, I have it. So the usage. Since I'm not root on the machine, I'm going to type sudo Padbuster. Now the formula is we put first the URL, which is lazy.http, and where we triggered the problem or the error. So basically, if we get back, we see here we are in the, let's forward this or let's keep it. Okay, let me copy that value first. I'll click forward. All right. Now, if I log out, now log back in, intercept request, forward. Okay, so here, name and password. So forward, let's see the cookie. This is the cookie. You see it's changed, but this is not a problem. So we're gonna need that cookie, but the page actually is, if we get back, login.php. That's where we apply the tag. Now we get back and we grab the cookie. Next comes the cookie, or the authentication cookie that is targeted. So then we use -8 or 16. We saw -8. 16 or 8 for the padding actually, or the block size, sorry. 8 for a block size. If it doesn't work, we increase that to 16. Now, then we type dash cookies both equal, and we repeat it, or we paste the same value, and that's it. So right, what's going to do now? It's going to decrypt this value and gives us, or it's going to give us that this value is corresponding to my username. All right, so it took a while to finish the results. Okay, so we go up here. Let's grab this down. All right, so based on that, here what we did actually, we have provided the cookie, okay, to the Padbuster to find us the corresponding username, okay. So if you go down, we can see the analysis took a while to complete. And once we are here, we can see that it's finished. The decrypted value is user equal Motasim. This is my username I have used while I registered, and I used the encrypted value of the cookie here to find my username. Now below here we have the decrypted value in hex and base64. Now, what if we want to find what if we provide the program Padbuster user equal admin and tell it, hey, find us the encrypted value of the authentication cookie of the user admin. That's what I did actually down here. So if we go up, so I have provided the same query here, okay? But instead, I have said, okay, look, the plain text username user equal admin. But it's not showing fully. Okay, admin, right. So here we have provided the same query, okay, the same cookie for my username, but instead we have said explicitly that the plain text value user equal admin, and thus the tool objective here will be is to find you the encrypted value that corresponds to the user equal admin, which is down here. Encrypted value is this one. So what we have to do here is to grab this as is and feed it to the perp suite and see if we can log in as an admin. So let's see here. So this is off. All right. Now let's log out of my username. Now we log in back. Okay, so first we type username, my name, and password, my password. Now get back here. This is on, login, forward. This is the one. Replace this with the value we have just found. And we say forward. So once we forward the value we have obtained from Badbuster, we can see we are logged in as admin, and we see this is indicated by the different output we got once we have logged into the account. All right, so if you go down, we see here there's a SSH key. If we click on the SSH key, and here of course we will have to intercept again and put the actual value forward. Okay, now this is a SSH key, right? Now this concludes the first part of the challenge. We have finished, we have exploited the padding vulnerability in the web application. Now next we log in with this private key and we start the privilege escalation. So we take that. Notice that the name of the key is my SSH key with name Mitsos. So this is the username. So we go down. All right, so here we type sudo nano ID RSA. Paste in the private key. Change the permissions. What's next? Sudo login sh-i idrsa mitsos at lazy.htp. And we log in. Yes. And we have logged in as Mitsos. So we have successfully compromised the target machine with a limited access to the SSH server. Now we can browse the file system and start the privilege escalation. Now, type ls. If you type ls, there is a backup file. It's not file, actually, it's tool or it's binary. You can type that ls-la to find more about that. So backup, the owner is root and the group is root. As you can see, it has a suit bit set, which means this binary can be executed as root or as its owner. So if we type /backup, see what it does. We see the output of the shadow file. And we can see here the user Mitsos and the hashed value of the password. But why did we get this? And as we can see, we have the root as well. So we can just decrypt this one. Okay. Now, alternatively, if you want to go the privilege escalation path without the need to brute force that, all you have to do is to find out why the backup file just spits out the content of the shadow file. So to know that, we have to type strings backup CUI. Strings. Do we have strings on this? Strings. Oh, got this. So here by typing strings, we see we can look for any string that would be clue about the object of this program. So we see here cat etc shadow. That's why it is printing the content of the shadow file. But we see a flaw here. It is printing, or it is using cat, okay, without specifying the full path of cat. All right, so this means that it relies on the environment variable, okay, where cat relies on the system, so it picks up the first path in the environment variable. Now, what if we just manipulate the environment variable and we put the same copy of cat but with our own code in the environment variable, so it gets executed first? So that's the flaw here. It doesn't specify the full path to the cat. Okay, so what do we do here? We just go to cd temp, since temp is more likely to allow you to just write twice. So we type, for example, nano cat permission denied. Okay, so here type bin sh, and down there, okay, bin sh, and down here we type bin sh. All right, cat, cat. So actually the content now, if we execute cat now, it should give us shell, right? But right now it won't. Why? Because uh, the owner is Mitsos. So we don't want Mitsos to be the owner of the shell. We want it to be root. So what we will do here now, the next step is to give that execution permission, chmod plus x cat. Now the next step is modifying the environment variable. Let's see how the environment variable looks like. Echo that. So this is the environment variable here. Most probably cat, the original cat tool, relies in sbin or bin. So we want to create an environment variable or a path that actually precedes these two. So what we would do here, we would just say, okay, let's export and say path equal temp. Right, so then path. So what we did here, we just say, look, put the directory temp, okay, at the very first of the in the environment variable here. So we execute this, export. So if we echo now, let's see the results. We see temp now is the first path to be picked when the system looks for the binary that we intend to execute. In our case, we intend to execute cat. It's going to look where is cat. Cat is in temp. The first occurrence is in temp, which is our own binary. It's going to execute it. So we get back here less, and we execute the cd home, cd mitsos, and if we execute backup now, it will execute our cat, which is in temp. And as you can see, we are root now. So the challenge is completed, but now the one thing left is to print a flag. If you are interested, or if you don't, if we want to print a flag, just type bin cat and then root.txt. All right, this is the flag, and I conclude this video. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.